Second. You guys are good to go.
Okay.
We're
live.
Ghost hunt. Of course, we got to celebrate in style, being it is a national holiday. So, has anybody done any kind of ghost hunting before? Yeah? Awesome. Where have you guys been?
St. Albans, Waverly Hills.
Awesome.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Oh, you guys have a thing for asylums, don't you?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I've done Waverly Hills. St. Albans is high up on my list. I've heard nothing but good things. Yeah, that's totally cool.
Why we're live.
Okay, so we are officially live. For those who have never done any kind of ghost hunting before, I'm just going to tell you this. I'm going to make it nice and easy. Keep an open mind, ask questions, and always be respectful. Just because you're dead doesn't mean you don't have feelings anymore. You treat the spirits here with respect, they will treat you with respect in return. Don't, and I have to say this because of shows like Ghost Adventures. You know, I know there are those of us who love Zach Baggins, but don't provoke. Do not provoke the spirits. It does not end well. Trust me on that. As I've been doing this long enough. The spirits here literally know me by name. I mean, some of them even call me friends. That's the kind of relationship that I have with them. Now, first up, we're going to visit the governor's palace. And then we're going to move to the infamous Peyton Randolph house, which is considered the most haunted house in the area. And then we're going to finish up at the courthouse of 1770, which I've been getting to know here very intimately as of late because of our extreme tour that we offer on the weekends. The place has become incredibly active, and I'm not going to say any more than that. We'll find out soon enough. Are you guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. We're going to try this again. Are you guys ready?
Yes!
Oh. Somebody give me strength. All right, guys. Edgar Allan Poe once wrote, "The boundaries which divide life from death are at best shadowy and vague. Who shall say where the one ends and where the other begins?" A little food for thought tonight as we walk along and commune with those that history chose to leave behind. Again, my name is Denny. I am your tour guide and your lead paranormal investigator. If you have any questions, by all means, talk to me. Other than that, let us go to our first stop of the night. Hey. Oh, okay. All right. So I'm curious, who's been here to Colonial Williamsburg before? Can I get a show of hands? Awesome. Can you guys tell us about the history? No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that for you. So, for those who don't know, Burton Parish Church here, where we just started off, this is actually the second oldest Episcopalian church still in continuous use in the United States today. I absolutely love this church. Now, there are probably close to 400 some people buried in this cemetery alone, but there are an additional 42 people buried in the floorboards of the church. Give me a show of hands if you think that's creepy. Yeah, I figured there'd be a couple of us. That was actually a great honor once upon a time. And here's something kind of cool. The last physical person to be buried in that church is none other than Reverend W.A.R. Goodwin. Anybody heard that name? You don't know Goodwin? Oh, you didn't watch the video at the visitor center then. Reverend Goodwin, we affectionately call him the father of Colonial Williamsburg. So he was rector of that church on 2 separate occasions. He came up with the idea that we should make Williamsburg look the way it did during the 18th century when it was the capital of the colony of Virginia. Thing was, he couldn't afford it, not on the mere wages that he made. So he got together with a very rich man with deep pockets that we call John D. Rockefeller Jr. And thanks to these two men, you have everything here that you see today. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning Reverend Goodwin is because he's just one of the many spirits that wanders around his former church. And You're probably not going to believe me, but I've met the guy's dog. His ghost dog. I have literally met his dog. His dog's name is Alaska. Back in May, I was finishing up a tour one night, and I felt like somebody was watching me. I was completely alone. And I said, okay, somebody's here with you. So I turned around. I felt like they were watching me from the cemetery. So I snapped a few photos. I went back and looked. And I kid you not, the very first photo, there was a dog, a white dog, staring at me through the cemetery. Watch your step there.
Of course, it's got to be me.
Yeah.
Walking through the
Be on
poop.
the lookout for trip hazards around here, by the way. Just saying. Horse poop, potholes, it's everywhere. But back to what I was saying. The dog was right there in the photograph, a white dog. And I could even recognize the breed. It's called an American Eskimo. Yeah, beautiful dogs. Spunky personality. I went and talked to a buddy of mine who used to work in security here. Showed him the photograph, and he said, you know, Reverend Goodwin used to have an American Eskimo. I said, get out of here. He said, give me a couple of minutes and I'll send you a photo. He sent me a photograph of Reverend Goodwin holding this dog of his, and I went, that's the very dog I saw that night. Totally cool. Totally cool. And, you know, it kind of gives me something to look forward to at the same time, because based off that, it seems like just because you're dead doesn't mean, like, you know, refuses to keep going. The spirits in the cemetery have said that Reverend Goodwin and Alaska go on walks together late at night. I think that's totally cool. And horse poop, watch your step. Those lanterns would probably come in handy with all the horse poop.
Oh, yeah.
But we are slowly but surely getting to the governor's palace. So what we'll do, I'm thinking, is probably set up
Okay.
on the patch of grass where the Williamsburg High School used to stand.
Okay.
Right in front of the governor's palace, just
Okay.
because it's a nice little out-of-the-way area. The traffic can still get through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds perfecto. And there's the governor's palace.
Gather around, guys and gals, and pups.
I got it.
All right. So behind me here is the illustrious governor's palace, once home to 7 British royal governors, a colonial mayor, and 2 post-royal governors.
Oh, I forgot I was filming.
This, unfortunately, is not an original building. We do know the original the original building did burn in December of 1781. So therefore, what we see here today is a recreation, but it is built upon the original foundations that were originally discovered in 1930. And we can boast that the building does actually have the original 18th century cellar, which I think is totally cool. Does anybody, by any chance, have any familiarity with the restoration of Colonial Williamsburg? No? It's a very long story, and I wish I had time to talk about it, but we're here to look for ghosts. So I'm going to share a quick tidbit with you. In June of 1930, the restoration team came here to start looking for what we, of course, have here today. But this was a very different site than what we see right now. They actually had a high school standing literally right here where we are on this patch of grass. Not too far nearby, there was an elementary school. There was a steam laundry and a 3-story power plant. This was a crazy site. Basically, they had to get rid of all this stuff before they could really start doing any kind of excavating. And once they knocked it all down, that's when they started finding really cool things. Like, for starters, the original foundation for the governor's palace. And then, of course, the 18th century cellar. And that cellar, by the way, was full of artifacts from the time period. They cleaned that thing out. They had found 52 crates worth of artifacts. Awesome stuff. They, of course, photographed it, cataloged it. And then a couple weeks after that, things kind of took a turn for the worse. There was a workman digging a trench along the northern wall over here, and he took his shovel, put it into the ground, and he realized he couldn't break the earth. So he was like, okay, I wonder what that is. He took it away, grabbed a pickaxe, drove that into the ground, he pulled it back up, and on the end of that pickaxe was a human skull. That was a cause for alarm. He's like, okay, I've obviously treaded upon a cemetery. So he went and told his supervisor, and the supervisor said, yeah, I dare say we got a cemetery. So they expanded the search area, brought in some more guys to dig on this site, and over the next few months, they uncovered 158 bodies in total, 156 men and 2 women. They brought in a special forensic anthropologist. They ran tests, 156 men and 2 women. Now, they had to figure out who all these people were, who they were exactly. And little did they know, after the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, George Washington commissioned the governor's palace here to be a field hospital to treat the dying and the wounded from that battle, because the colony of Virginia had moved at the request of Thomas Jefferson from Williamsburg to Richmond the year before. This building was empty. It's big, it's perfect. Well, they came in, and anybody who died here, apparently they were supposed to be buried on the property out of respect. 156 men that they could say were safely soldiers, and 2 women who were more than likely nurses or even camp followers. As for the rest, well, that's unfortunately a loss to history. Now, as a result of this, I firmly believe that the governor's palace is as haunted as it is because of these 158 people that are buried just over here beyond the western advance today in the gardens. They're all packed in to this little area right on top of the hill that overlooks the canal, and what can I say? They're feeling restless. They're essentially the shadows of their former selves, and they're looking for the right opportunity, like tonight maybe, for someone to come along and hear their stories. And I can tell you, I used to work here in Colonial Williamsburg as a historical interpreter. I used to work for them as a ghost storyteller. I've been inside this building many, many nights, and I've heard the stories from not only the employees, but the guests as well. Things happen here, and sometimes they're downright creepy. One of my buddies, he's been working in security for about 7 years. He was beyond the back wall of the governor's palace one night when he claims he encountered the 7-foot-tall figure of a shadow man with red eyes. Now, what would you do in that kind of situation? Would you turn and go the other way? Yeah. That seems like the logical thing to do. He claimed after about 30 minutes of staring at this thing, just awestruck, that it turned around, ran into the trees that were nearby, and he chased after it. But apparently, it disappeared within a matter of seconds. What can I say? I've heard crazier. Now, what do you say we get started? I can feel the energy. Like they're getting curious. Like we're curious about them. So let's reach out. Let's see who's here. Teammates, Jennifer, Christy, come on up. Leah, come on up. Everybody, this is Leah Danielle. She's actually a certified medium. She's going to help us retrieve messages from anybody that might wish to reach out through the veil and speak with us tonight. So, guys, what do you think? What are you feeling?
Female.
You've got a female.
Female presence.
Okay.
Lost.
Uh-huh.
She wants to know why we're here and what are we looking for, because she's not quite to the other side just yet.
Interesting.
She's still not aware that she's not here, but we are, so why are we here looking at her?
Right.
This is not a spectacle. So she
There
wants
you
to
go.
know what we're doing here looking at them. Like, why are we here?
That must be the curiosity I was picking up on. Because I could feel that. Interesting.
She was in the building, then she was out the building, and she's kind of just like
Walking around.
watching you all, wondering why you were watching them all.
what did I tell you before we got started? If you don't have good enough energy, they're not going to be curious enough to come out and check with us. So I'm glad you guys picked it up a little bit for me before we started heading over here. Now, what should we do? What do you think? Spearbox? Yeah, we could. Anybody know what a Spearbox is? What it does? Oh, what does it do?
You can hear their voices through the spirit box.
Golly gee, how does that work?
I have a feeling you're going to
There you go. Play along. I love it. Yeah, so Spearbox, essentially what you have is a FM AM radio, and it's got a sweep capability on it. So you push this little button and you can adjust the speed however fast you want it to go, and it starts basically scanning through frequencies in the area incredibly fast. And what you get created is this white noise or a static. The idea is if spirits are here with us, they can kind of manipulate this, take what they need, find their voice to speak to us, or they can even borrow voices from the radio that I've discovered in my own investigation. So we can start off with that and see what we get. I'll make initial contact, and if anybody wants to come up and join me, by all means. This is just as much your show as it is mine. So.
Absolutely.
And plus, you'll find that sometimes the spirits might know who you are, and they will call you out by name. I actually had that happen to a young 11-year-old boy that was with me last night on a tour out here. Called his name right through the spirit box. They said, Aiden. He went, oh, how do they know who I am? I said, maybe somebody's following you around. I can hear you. Be patient.
differently now. It's first name and a part to it.
Yeah,
It's Sister Mary Josephine.
that, yeah. I knew I was picking it up.
All right, let's see what we got.
And I got it at the church. I was sitting at the church.
It's
by
Sister
myself.
Mary Josephine.
I just couldn't get the rest of it. I got Josephine, but not
If
the
you
rest.
guys pick up on anything, you see anything, you hear anything, definitely let us know.
Sorry, didn't mean to step in, but I wanted to see if you
you're
know
good.
where.
Spirits, hello, my name is Denny. I'm a traveler in these parts. I can hear you. Look, I'm here visiting tonight. I'm with Leah. I got Jennifer. I got Christy here. I got Angela. I got Heather. I've got Scott and a bunch of other friends. I understand some of you are curious. We would very much like to answer any questions you have, and maybe we can ask you some questions in return. Help.
She wants to know if we're here to help them.
We can certainly try our best. What do you need? Come toward us. Don't be shy. We all come to you as friends. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Could you tell me your name? Oh.
Oh, it's a man.
Hi. How many of you are out here? Behind me?
What about the video? You want to turn the video on and see if we can?
Interesting.
So there's a commotion, and she says, do you not see all the commotion? Like, do you not see?
So what's with the commotion? Me? Look, if you need some energy, why don't you come and get it? You got some? Come forward and grab it. Let's see if I can help you out. I know, I was going to say your hands are full.
I got it.
You can at least set down the camera.
A train's coming.
All right. EMF meters, electromagnetic field detectors. So basically, these guys are going to pick up any kind of disturbance within the electromagnetic fields around us. So if you got like a camera, cell phone, anything like that, it could very well set this off. But spirits will use their energy to make these light up, and we can actually ask them questions using these. Anybody want to use one? There you go.
We have brave people.
Take a walk around. Kind of feel out the area. See if you pick up on anything.
You want to set out a REM pod?
You want to sit out a REM pod? How about a REM trigger object?
Sure.
Anybody recognize him? So that's Slimer from Ghostbusters. But he does something in particular. He does this. So if a ghost or spirit were to walk up and interact with him, they would get energy from the device, but it will signify that something's actually trying to touch it or interact with it.
Yeah, it's warm where I'm at. It's warm right here.
This is going to set him back there to act as kind of like a, I guess, kind of like a proximity alarm to let us know if anything decides to walk up on us. Through various investigations that I've done here at the Governor's Palace, I sometimes have to do different things to kind of, what we say, trigger the paranormal activity to take place. So I look at the history of the building, I go, okay, this was the Governor's Palace. It was a site known for parties and drinking and eating good food. Party, yeah.
I just said party.
The spirits here like to party. So what do you say if we play a little music and see if that kind of lightens the mood a little bit? Yeah? Maybe if they think we're having a party, they won't feel so nervous.
The dog is definitely curious of what's going on back there for sure.
So I'm just going to put on a little music in the background, see if that does anything. Let's see. So let's try asking them some questions. We got somebody that talks about the party. So that obviously is some interest. So let's kind of play around with that.
Want to do some wine? You guys, would you like some wine? Some sherry, bourbon.
That's hilarious.
Look, we'll go ahead and set the mood for you. Play some music for you. Why don't you come out and dance with us? Does anybody want to dance with them? Yeah? Come on, don't be shy. The more easygoing we are, the more at ease they will be. So whoever was, it sounded like a lady was talking to you about the bourbon. Ask if she can hear the music.
Can you hear the music? What'd she say?
That was a man that answered.
Would you like for the music to be turned up?
I did not do that.
They said they didn't like that music. Yeah.
Yeah, you not like that song.
I had it on a 2.5-hour playlist of 18th century ballroom
That's
music.
better. Oh, it said that's better. It said that's better.
It's, you know what? It's still shit. Arizona audit all aboard the truth train. Oh, wow. Yeah, by all means, give it a try. Okay, so
Ale.
mood. Yes, so. Either that or I'm going with somebody wants to be remembered.
Like I said, I'm having a hard time.
Hey,
One of our favorite hard time.
Lady Anne. So we have a request to see if Lady Anne is here. Lady Anne Skipwith.
Is there a Lady Anne here?
That is so weird. I've never had a spirit change my music.
Is Lady Anne here?
Yeah.
I gotta wait.
Did anybody ever use dowsing rods before?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you use them?
Tight.
Uh-huh.
Ask the spirits the questions. Show me yes, let me know first. So you know how they work out.
Yeah.
And then politely ask them. Say thank you after you answer questions.
You're up.
Let's turn off Spearbox. Okay. I don't feel like they're good.
I can't see it. I'm sorry. I have partial hearing problems.
So, show us how it's done.
You want to keep your arms in tight.
Mm-hmm.
You want to level them. And then show me yes.
Yes, we can see the nosing rods.
Say thank you. Show me no. Say thank you.
Oh, wow. That's a big no.
Are there spirits here with us tonight?
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there less than 5? Okay, thank you. Are there less than 10? Thank you. Are there less than 20? Okay, thank you. Are there 15? Thank you. 14? Okay, we've got 14.
Wow.
Was that you that changed the music up on us? One of you?
Uh-huh.
All right. Thank you. What else you want me to ask? How many? Well, are there half men, half women? Okay, thank you. Are there more men than women here in spirit?
I'm going to jump into
Thank
this session that she's doing. I'm just going to let her keep asking the questions. But I'm going to hold my rods out. I'm going to put a blindfold on and see if I get the same answers.
If y'all have questions, shout them out.
Are they at peace? Are you at peace? Yes.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Do they get to roam the earth on Halloween?
Do you walk the earth on Halloween or Samhain night?
Yes.
Good job.
That's awesome.
Are you here for someone in the crowd?
One says yes, one says no.
No. You have two spirits communicating too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there more than one spirit communicating between us?
What?
Are you a grandmother to someone in the crowd? Got no. Is there evil here? Is there any evil or malicious energy here? No.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Are you rooted to one spot? This particular one says yes.
Is this saying
I
yes?
can't see, so you guys are gonna have to tell me.
Yours was yes too.
Okay. It's like I can feel the moving. But...
Do you enjoy people coming by to visit you? Yes.
Oh, yay.
Good. We enjoy visiting you too.
Is there one male and one female that are more prominent?
Mine says yes.
It said yes.
Is there a message for one of the visitors?
Yes.
Maybe. Do you have a message for a visitor here today? Yes.
Is this visitor a male?
Is it the visitor that I am picking up on?
Oh, hear that?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Will this visitor be open to communication?
Yes.
Somebody's asking, are there spirits of nurses or soldiers?
There is a nun,
A nun.
Sister Mary Josephine. That's the one that wonders why we are watching.
How is she connected to this place?
She says, "Can't you see I'm working?"
Stubborn to the
Sorry,
end.
sister.
He was praying over. I'm thinking she was praying.
Oh.
Oh.
Somebody set that off?
No, yes, someone said it.
Oh, okay.
Are you afraid of us?
That feels like a no.
No.
Remember, if you get too close to him, he's going to scream at you. Luckily, he won't eat you.
Are there spirits here other than from the colonial era? Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Anything else? Anybody else have any questions?
Anybody else want to try it?
Do we have a military figure upon us at the moment? Yes.
Yeah.
General, perhaps.
Civil War?
Is it Civil War era?
Yes.
Yes.
War between the states.
Dark hair? Do you have dark hair?
Yes. And did you pass away due to your wounds?
Denny's is not, yeah.
Are they buried here? Are you buried here? Strong, yes.
Mm-hmm. Both yes.
Did you die in surgery?
Starting to see some trippy stuff with this blindfold on. No, I just saw like a bunch of soldiers standing at attention saluting a coffin.
He would have been at a little higher rank.
Yeah.
He's not settled because the news did not reach his family. Are you still looking for your family that wasn't told?
Does he still have remaining family alive?
Whoa, whoa.
Is your name Andrew?
I'm gonna snap my arms up.
I know. You have to shake it off a little bit.
Yeah, probably a good idea. Like, man, my arms are falling asleep. It's like, hey, sorry for
when I get around energy, I can tell. I'm like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
really.
So are they
I'm
using
the
your energy
same
to
way.
move it? Like, how does that work?
They do. They come through your energy field, which is why a lot of people don't read too much or too many times because it can be quite draining. Yes,
They
it
use
is very
like an
draining.
energy rod, kind of. With
Yeah,
the
I
rod.
mean,
You're
you basically
conduit,
become a conduit.
basically.
Took words right out of my mouth.
And they're always copper because copper conducts energy. And so generally, dowsing rods are copper. Because of that.
What are those called?
Dowsing rods.
Oh, he's
I think
so
about
cute.
Ley line, and that's why you get so much activity, or is it because of the location?
I don't know. I've never studied the ley lines around here.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question.
Are we on a ley line?
Now, what you could do, ideally, if you had more time, you could basically go through and search this entire area, walking in a straight line.
Yeah.
And if the rods cross, then that usually indicates you've got something underneath of you. But I mean, again, that could be a ley line, it could be an underground electrical wire, it could be a water source. Yeah, super cool. Okay, let's go ahead and you. Did you want to hang on to it for a little bit? Yeah. Why not? Anybody want to hang on to the other one? Just because, we're visiting 3 sites doesn't mean you can't pick up on our ghostly friends along the way. And I think I have one more. Let's see here.
Oh, really? You're just like feeling it? You're just feeling it?
It's not projecting.
I don't want anybody to ever do a reading on me. I don't even know why I put myself through this. That's awesome. What about the camera? Could we start that up and somebody be holding that to see if there's energy around us? Did we bring that?
The thing with the SLS camera, you've got to be selective with how much you use it
Okay.
because it drains the battery life really.
Oh,
really quick.
gotcha. So we're
So I
gonna
usually
save
try
it
to
up.
save that for an area where one, we have good lighting,
Okay.
and then two, I know it's just going to be used at that one area.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I love that thing.
Screaming at me. Bear with me. Wake me up in the morning.
Do you know why that window is so lit up? The second window at the top? Like, there's the 5 windows.
Little thing we call Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
You can't hide everything modern around here, unfortunately. They do their best, but Professor Google
I couldn't even see
sometimes
that.
likes to come out and say hi.
It showed it, and it was weird because it was so bright.
Yeah, they actually run a live feed camera up there as well that goes 24 hours a day. And
Oh, it
looks
sure
down
enough did. How
on
cool.
our screen here. So one thing I wanted to say, as I'm kind of wrapping things up here, we're picking up on a possible high-ranking officer from the Civil War. Is anybody familiar with Williamsburg being involved in the Civil War? Yeah? That's awesome. Usually
A lot of people don't,
like,
yeah.
no, had no idea. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's like, I guess Williamsburg wasn't sexy enough. History chose to remember, all the big ones like Gettysburg and Chancellorsville and Antietam, all these great ones. But Williamsburg was actually at the very beginning of what we call the Peninsula Campaign. The federal forces, what we call the Union forces, they had 42,000 troops in this area, and the Confederate forces had 31,000. These guys fought for 10 hours about 4 miles down the street from where we are. And nearly 4,000 men died between both sides. Absolutely crazy stuff to think about. But we do know nearby the Burton Parish Church was actually used as a field hospital after that battle took place. So it is very well possible we could have somebody who decided to follow us from there once we started the tour. And they're like, hey, I need help. Talk to me. You get that a lot. I actually left Fort Magruder Hotel last night where the actual battle took place, and I actually had
We don't
a
want to talk about
lieutenant from the Confederate Army follow me from the hotel to here and wanted to talk with me through the Spearbox and just hang out and tell me about his life. He said that his name was Lieutenant Archie. He was actually a first lieutenant. He was from New York, and he said that he was looking to go home. And I said, well, Archie, there's a time and a place. How about you come find me later? I have a feeling we'll bump into each other. And I said, go on back to the hotel and get yourself a nice room. And I kid you not, we had the Spearbox going while we were doing this. And I asked one of the spirits if he left. They said, he's gone. Plain as day. I said, I'll take it. All right. So one thing I always stress to people before we leave any remotely haunted site is to thank the spirits for talking with us. So everybody, let's say thank you.
Thank you.
And encourage them to stay here. Now, that's not a rule that's written in stone. I mean, it's like writing it in the sand. But it's always good to say because you never want anybody to get curious enough to follow you home. Please stay here.
That's right, I have saved.
You want to carry that this one?
There we are. All right. We are packed and ready to go.
I have two
who's
hands,
ready for
but
the most haunted house
only
in
one
Williamsburg?
works at a time.
All right. So from there, we're going to crank it up a notch. We're going to pull out all the bells and whistles and see if these guys really, truly want to come out and communicate with us. It's been pretty active over there recently, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but let's start walking.
I can't see where I'm walking, so if I fall, everybody will know it.
Yeah, exactly.
You need help. Oh, the sky's so clear tonight.
Right.
Beautiful night for us.
Well, you don't have enough textbooks, and most people have one or need to go that far back into history.
It really is. And that's one thing I always do as a paranormal investigator and try to let them know, hey, I'm a storyteller.
Right.
You know, I go around, I collect your stories. Don't tell me about yourself. Right. Nothing helps you remember.
Pretty much a recorder of the fact.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my spooky friends. Can you hear me in the back? Awesome. There we go. I've been doing this long enough. Hopefully, my voice hasn't given out on me yet. Now, we're passing by one particular historic house here. That's the Thomas Everard house. Little off the beaten path, but Thomas Everard, he was mayor of Williamsburg on 2 separate occasions. Very important man. He actually was the sole person who hand-selected members to represent us in the Continental Congress. That man's house is considered part of the original 88 buildings here in Colonial Williamsburg, and it is very much haunted. Very much haunted. Oh, horse poop. All right, guys, watch your step.
Oh, I can't see. Oh, I think I just stepped in it.
One of my favorite spirits to chat with from the Thomas Everard house, though, is the spirit of a grieving mother. Her name is Margaret Page. Margaret Page is grieving in death because in life she lost her 14-year-old son, Gregory, who decided one day, on a very hot summer day, I should say, that he was going to go out to a local creek here and go swimming when he knew he couldn't swim. And boy, oh boy, did it not end well. And let's hold here for a second. Follow me. Watch your step, guys. All right. So one thing I'll tell you, if you've never been here to Colonial Williamsburg, virtually every building you come across is haunted. No exceptions. This building right here, St. George Tucker House. This is an original house, by the way. Actually dates back to 1788. Named for Mr. St. George Tucker. He was what you would call a man of many hats. This guy, he was a judge, he was a lawyer, he was an author, he was a poet, he was a gardener. I mean, I can appreciate a guy like that. You never get bored. Now, St. George Tucker's house is said to be haunted by quite a few different spirits, but there's one in particular who I affectionately call the mysterious woman in black. You ever heard a ghost story like that before? A lady in black or a lady in red, lady in white. You hear them all across the world. I don't know what it is, but here there's actually a mysterious woman in black who often appears on ghost stories for people. Don't know what it is. I guess she gets curious enough to come out, kind of like our ghostly lady over at the governor's palace, wanted to know what exactly is going on and why people are staring. But they say every once in a while, much on a night like tonight, if the atmosphere is right and the energy is good, she usually appears right here in this general area, just on the other side of the fence. Sometimes people have seen her as far up as the staircase here with her hand on the banister looking out. And she just kind of paces about, looking out at you with a bit of a curious look on your face. I've seen a couple of photographs. Supposedly, she is here, and they are legit, but I've yet to meet her. If you want to snap a couple of photographs on our way to the Randolph house, go for it.
Let me get out of the way.
I'm going to move out here. Lady manager. Good to know. It's kind of strange because people, they don't know if she's from the 18th century, they don't know if she's from the 19th century, but she's always wearing black. And that says to me, she's crazy. Yep, she's a widow.
We could do her on our next live stream.
St. George Tucker House? Yeah. That would be cool.
Oh, we're getting ready to collide with somebody.
Hey guys, let's pull it over to the side here. There we go, no worries. Yeah. Oh gosh. Hey guys, one of my all-time favorite landmarks here in Colonial Williamsburg is this giant tree we just passed under here. What do you think of that? It's beautiful. It's big. It's bountiful. This is the Compton oak tree of Williamsburg. It's actually the state champion here in Virginia, believe it or not, because it is the largest of its species. 70 feet tall, 97 feet wide when they measured it 4 years ago. And they say it's still growing. How old do you think it is, though? Take a wild guess.
Well, it's at least my age because we climbed on it as kids.
Okay.
So I won't say how old that is.
That's a fair guess. 240? Okay, hey, you took a guess. Give me another guess.
187.
187. Give me one more.
Pictures if we see anything.
Anybody?
We're gonna be our photographer.
Okay, sold. This tree is actually only 88 years old.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not. It's crazy to think this tree's only been here 88 years old. But all I can say is that's what happens when you don't give an oak tree competition. Oh yeah, and rumor has it the tree is haunted. Even better, right? Let's move to the side of the house over here.
I know. It's busy down here tonight. That's awesome, though. I like busy. Yeah. Well, let's put it down a little closer to him and then put the lanterns on bright around
All
him.
right, so it's incredibly dark here. We're going to need some light.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
gonna.
hold on, Danny. Oh, so
Actually,
it's
okay. And those lanterns have 3 brightnesses, if brightness is an actual real word.
Man, that thing is yelling at me. All right, so here we are. We're actually on the side of the Peyton Randolph house. This is actually considered to be the most haunted house in Williamsburg. I will tell you, as I run in a lot of different paranormal circles, there are some investigators who believe that this is actually one of the most haunted houses on the East Coast of the United States. I don't know about all that, but I can attest to the
He's
fact
a brave
that there
little
is
soul.
some very serious and heavy energy here at this house. But is anybody familiar with Peyton Randolph? No. I usually get, yeah, wasn't he cousin to Thomas Jefferson? Yeah. That's about it. But yeah, there's a little more to it. So Peyton Randolph was cousin to Thomas Jefferson, of course, but he's most remembered for being our first, second, and third president of the Continental Congress. We're talking about a well-loved and well-respected political figure here in the colony of Virginia. And there are historians today who say he's more of an unspoken founding father. And if he had not died in October of 1775, just 7 months before we signed the Declaration of Independence, he would have become president of the United States. That's how important this guy was. There was actually a militia group stationed here in Williamsburg that was actually referring to him as the father of his country. That in itself, at least for me, is a big deal. That says a lot. But unfortunately, Peyton Randolph died, and the news, it spread all around Williamsburg, all around the colonies, and it took them a couple of months to get him back here. But how did they preserve his body for those, 2 months that it would take to get him here to be, officially buried?
Oh, I
Any
don't know.
ideas? Ice?
Salt?
Salt? Yeah. What about rum? Yeah, they actually stuck Peyton Randolph in a barrel of rum.
Oh my god.
Amen, brother.
The spirits would definitely be higher. But they stuck him in a barrel of rum, and they shipped him back here to Williamsburg. There was a grand funeral parade. It went all down Duke of Gloucester Street, and they did not stop until they got to the Wren Chapel at the College of William and Mary. Why? Because that is where the Randolph family vault is. And They buried him there alongside his father and eventually his older brother. And of course, within that vault also is one of Virginia's governors, Lord Bodytod. Now, why is this the most haunted house in Williamsburg? That's a good question. I honestly don't have a good answer. But here's what I do know about this house, as this is my favorite house in the historic area. This house has had over 37 deaths that have taken place right here on this property. 37 deaths, and some of those deaths have been under tragic, sometimes very unfortunate circumstances. We do know there have been a couple of suicides in this house. There has been a murder. People have died from terminal illnesses. There was a fire here at one point in which a couple of children lost their lives. You're picking up on a small girl?
Little girl.
Last name Peachy? Maybe Hornsby?
I get an E, but it's first name.
First name, Mary.
Yeah. E.
So if this is Mary,
And
that...
she said I hurt myself.
Okay. Huh.
Kind of like a like a boo-boo. Like
Okay.
I hurt myself. That's when
Interesting.
life ended. I got a boo-boo.
Oh, okay.
It happens.
Yeah, it does unfortunately happen. Two of the most commonly reported spirits here at the Peyton Randolph house are Mary and Susie Peachy, who died in the house September 13th, 1839, when a terrible fire broke out in what we call the mother-in-law suite, which is at the further end of the property here. They got trapped inside the house, and unfortunately they did suffocate and pass away. But they are here very much in spirit. Mary is only 8 years old, and Susie was only 2. And unfortunately, there are other children here as well. I have uncovered that there are at least a good small handful of them, anywhere between 10 to 15. They haven't given me an exact number, but they've said it's over 10. Quite a bit. There are quite a few adults here. I've met French soldiers from the American Revolution. I have actually met a Union soldier who was here in the home when it was used as a field hospital after the Battle of Fort Magruder in 1862. He ended up actually dying of tuberculosis. There's a colorful cast of characters. Who do we want to talk to?
Betty.
Betty Randolph?
I don't know. Betty.
Oh, the mistress of the household is here. Joy. So Betty Randolph was wife of Peyton Randolph.
That's a rooster.
Okay. That's on the house, guys. Betty Randolph, unfortunately, history gives her a bit of a bad rap. And I won't go into all the slanderous things that people say about her.
There's another woman that says she was an evil woman. Avery.
Oh. Wait, did you just say Avery?
Evil woman.
Oh no. I don't like her.
She's not happy.
No. She's always very angry. Oh. And Avery, at least this is what she calls herself. She likes me an awful lot. Yeah, so. Oh, now I'm uncomfortable. All right.
You and me both.
Let's go ahead and reach out, guys. So I've set out a REM pod up here. Basically what this device is going to do, this is going to, actually it's already doing it, it's putting off a real basic electromagnetic field around the device, sort of like the Slimer doll here. And this is going to act
Hey guys!
We love you.
Hey.
for
Hey!
Hey.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Yes. So listen, we're gonna let you guys go so we can
Okay.
get some other ones hopped on. But way to go! Great. Thank you
Sounds
so much
good.
for being a part of this.
We'll see you.
And keep hunting.
Okay. Awesome. Bye bye.
Bye bye.